What was your hardest things in your founder's journey?
See, the first challenge you face when you become a founder, that you become very lonely because,
It is harder for you to recovering, but how did you get back from it?
see, you have to remember that what are you in it for? Believing in the solution to a particular problem.
If you don't succeed again, pick up the knife and go for the battle.
Do a pivot, find new investors, make a new company, again start going.
Hello everyone, good morning. Welcome to today's episode of Founders Decoded. And today we have Tushar Kansal, who is a founder of Consultancy Venture Services. He's a founder and a CEO, which is located in India. He brings in more than 25 years of experience in startups as well as founder journeys. I'm really excited to have him here today, showing through lens of a founder as well as showing through lens of how India's startups are changing every day and what does it actually take being a founder, how to do fundraising, and also focusing on his personal journey. Uh, Thank you, Tushar, for being in today's podcast and
Thank you, everyone,
ha-
for having me.
and helping a lot of founders um, until now, even in future. Especially thanks from us and our community as well. And let's start. So, where does your journey started? Is um, from IIT JEE classes, like a startup that gives IIT JEE classes, if I'm correct, or material. And now you're managing almost more than a $150 million fund in India, raising almost, working with almost 400 plus founders, right? If I might be wrong,
Yeah.
but uh, I think based on the website. And yeah, tell me more about yourself in few words so that our community also understands.
So I belong to a family where my father is an IIT engineer, and so since the early childhood, the IIT thing was always there in front of me. So once I did my engineering and did my MBA in finance from University of Delhi, I got a chance to do entrepreneurship around the entrance examinations for IITs, and this was a very promising and a rising field, especially in our side of Delhi, the capital. There were not too many organized training institutes. So I got a chance to organize this around my area, grew the center to three centers, and within 5 years, we had 800 students, and we were almost doing very well, sending almost 50 to IIT every year. So while we were at it, the competition came in, and there were mega players like Fitji and Narayana and Shri Chaitanya and Akash, who came in our side of town, and suddenly we saw our teacher salaries become thrice, four times, and the students started expecting a lot of discounts, and they expected to be treated very personally, and the whole things became quite lopsided, and that is when Narayana Institute offered to buy all our centers and gave us a very good figure. So we had two options, whether to accept that or to go in for further expansion by putting in more money. So at that point in time, we decided that it's the right time to take the money off the table. And once we did that, because I had done MBA in finance, finance was my bread and butter. So I decided to, join a corporate because I thought finance is where I should be learning high street finance. And that is where I got the opportunity to join Deloitte and Touche, which is a big four company, and I was into financial advisory. It was a very exciting time for me, wherein I learned financial modeling, private equity, venture capital, M&A, mergers and acquisitions. So I learned due diligence. So valuation, and and because I used to really slog a lot, so I used to be put in all the teams, of different kinds of work. So I learned through the ropes, and that's when Times of India's venture arm called Brand Capital, at that time it was called Private Treaties, they poached me, and from therein began my time of actually understanding what investing means as a vertical within finance. And it was very exciting to see investing as a discipline, wherein you actually made sound decisions based on a lot of analysis, a lot of iterations, a lot of conversations within the team, and external teams as well, and with the founders. And that's when my excitement for investing grew. And Of course, after that also I had some corporate stints which were in very good companies. I raised $2.5 billion for the Russian telecom company MTS, while I was heading their corporate finance and treasury in India. And lastly, I was chief financial officer of Distribution Logistics. That was a company owned by the $350 billion Guggenheim Partners, the private equity fund in the US. So after having done all this corporate stints, what stayed within me was that brand capital was the most exciting thing which I had learned within finance. Although I had been in consulting side, advisory side, debt side, treasury operations side, I had seen accounting, auditing. I had done banking. I had explored M&As for the logistics company as well when I was a CFO. But I thought investing was the most attractive thing to do. And that is when I launched Consultancy Ventures in 2016. And the journey has been super exciting over the last 10 years. We have built a network of almost 1,700 investors, largely institutional, be it VC funds, family offices, not only from US, UK, but also from Singapore, Dubai, India. And we have won a number of awards in the process, including as the best startup supporter from Dr. Kiran Bedi for our work in the STEM field, from All India Council for Robotics and Automation. Uh, and I have done more than 500 podcasts, talks, events across academia and corporate platforms, and the journey goes on. And Every day is a exciting day because we are in this super amazing field of venture capital.
Seems like you have done a lot in finance as well as like you have evaluated on taking good decision steps throughout the life where having early exposure to entrepreneurship helped. And
It did a lot because whenever I used to be in large companies, I saw that most of the people were not doing practically anything. They were just managing their designation, and they were just doing some process kind of thing where they were just doing some departmental things which did not add any value to the company in any case. So more than 90% of people, I thought, were just followers, and they waited for their salary and somehow did meetings and all those things. So being an entrepreneur made it very difficult for me to survive in large companies because they were very silos driven, they were very process driven, and everybody was expected to do a small part of the whole thing. And but it gave me a lot of appreciation as to how you can organize people to achieve an objective of the company, which would ultimately result in a lot of value being created if you do it the right way. And some companies were super professional where I worked, some were not so, but definitely the exposure of entrepreneurship helped me a lot in understanding the founder's journey.
What was your hardest things in your founder's journey? I know it's ages ago, but even now you have a founder's journey on running the VC, and there was a founder's journey on running the uh, IIT facilities for students, the IIT training facilities. So, what
Right.
were the lessons you learned or challenges you faced during that point of time?
See, the
To
first challenge you face when you become a founder, that you become very lonely, because end of the day, if the company is not succeeding, or the cash flow is not coming, or the cash burn is high, or you are not getting a particular resource, so everything comes to you. And that is when you start getting a feeling in your guts that it is a very thankless and a very self-deprecating kind of activity. So motivating people, although is a very soft skill, and keeping them aligned to the vision of the company is also a leadership kind of work. But fact of the matter is that end of the day, the founder is uh, totally responsible for the outcome of the company, and employees can leave anytime.
yeah,
So any employee can say one day, sorry, I don't see a future here, I don't see the growth here, I don't see, I need better salary, I need more a better profile. So being a founder requires a lot of bravery, and I think that how confident you are, how it also requires a certain sense of uh, a childish belief that that this thing is going to do well. So you require a self confidence like Shah Rukh Khan, like who sees the mirror every day in the morning and tells himself that you are the best.
yeah,
So there will be moments where you will most of the times it will be very boring, and every day you will be doing the same thing over and over again, and you will be questioning many things. You will be always solving problems all the time, and there will be days when you will crack a new client, you will achieve a certain milestone, and that is the day when you can pat on your back, saying that whatever I've been doing is making sense. But then the very next day might be again boring, and it might be again lonely, and it might be bringing you new problems. So that is the nature of entrepreneurship. But you grow with it. So the more you do it, you grow with it, and you tend to dissociate yourself from the daily operations of the company slowly and slowly, and put in proper people, at the proper positions. So your role becomes more of people management, and that is when you tend to start doing better, because you delegate more, you know how to pick the right people, and drive work from them, compensate them properly, and when it comes to being a CXO versus being a founder in a startup, these are totally different things. As a CXO, you might be having a lot of budgets to do many things, but when it comes to startup, being a startup founder, every rupee matters, and you can't run your ship very royally. You have to run it very frugally, and keep an eye on the cash burn and the cash flows, and keep an eye on how your product is panning out. uh, like Jeff Bezos says, customer obsession.
yeah,
So customer obsession is the primary goal for you, and that is what eventually leads you to build a frugal and sustainable company.
I agree on a lot of aspects about the journey, loneliness, and it is at the there in the start because this is your idea you started, and this is your team you're building. This is your fight you're fighting, and as Shah Khan says again, you're the best. And
You have to do that.
and as like you will be boxed many times too. Even there will be
Right.
knockout punches as well. Uh,
Oh, definitely.
yeah, that's on a daily dose.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, and you have to not just motivate you, you have to motivate the entire company. You have to take in account for like there will be good employers who wants to do a lot. And I think there should be some freedom for those people to do, let's say there is a CTO and he wants to do a lot of things regarding your idea. Um, you could see how he's working, and maybe I'm getting a little sidetracked, but um, yeah. And I have a question. Uh,
Yeah.
in between the lines, you are saying about you have to finding motivation to yourself because like every day you get knockout punches, and there is a time that founders face that lack of motivation from based on their journey. So how do they
Right.
again regain? Maybe let's say you had one knockout punch that was so hard, like it is harder for you to recovery, but how did you
Right.
get back from it?
See, you have to remember that uh, what are you in it for? If if you were in it for actually believing in the solution to a particular problem, then your goal is large. It is a larger goal. Like, I'll give you the most obvious example of Elon Musk. He says that he wants to send humans to Mars. Now, the thing is that your goal should be larger, and when you are bringing in a lot of stakeholders together in your vision, then if your vision is purely profits, then you will get only financial investors. But if your vision is actually, you are solving the problem, like there was a founder who was from IIT Kharagpur and IIM Calcutta.
Hmm.
He was in Kuwait, chief design officer of a five-star chain, and his parents back in India suffered from dementia. And he had such a problem, he came back, and so his wife was a doctor, so he decided to set up a elderly care home for uh, old people who suffer from these kind of ailments. So, I've seen personally the dedication, the tremendous spirit behind the work he did. And of course, he was good in business as well. So he created a sustainable company which had enough profits to fend for itself.
Yeah,
So, like, there is a satisfaction in doing that. Of course, not everyone can be so full of passion about all these things. But end of the day, just look at it from this way, that even if you don't end up creating a unicorn, still you might end up creating a, a kind of medium size profitable company. So your personal objectives will get satisfied for sure. Your kids will study well, you will live in a good house, drive a good car, and travel the world. And if you believe in giving it back, in some way, then you can have a lot of other satisfactions also. You can give it back in academia, you can give it back as a social healthcare or education kind of thing. And of course, if you are super successful and you look attractive as well, then you can come in Shark Tank and the whole country knows you. And then one fine day you want to do an IPO like LensKart, and your private the last private valuation of LensKart was 8,500 crore, almost $1 billion. And because he was so successful and so famous, the valuation which he got in the IPO for LensKart was 70,000 crore, almost 8 to 9 times the private valuation. So these are the tremendous returns on being a successful entrepreneur. And although the journey is like the way it is, full of problems and full of loneliness issues, and full of punches, and but end of the day, I remember that movie Shawshank Redemption, where this guy comes out of the prison, and he leaves a note for the previous guy who was still in prison. And end of the day, that note says that life is meant to be lived, and we can't really believe in our own suffering. So that's the nature of the journey, and the rewards are many. The rewards are humongous for those who succeed.
I agree. The rewards are many when you succeed. And even like when you don't succeed as a unicorn, but as a founder, I think there is a satisfaction when the problem that you believe is solved. And I think main things, there are two types of founders, like depends on what I think is people who can execute well and people who fail to execute. And what do you think like non-executable executable founders executable, sorry, founders are making the mistakes in? And going back a little, LensKart, it was like an amazing idea because when I was a kid, there was no LensKart, and I think my dad was saying when he was a kid, sorry, I was a kid, um, about I know a client that who does like these lenses for cheap. Um, do you know how much that basically costs? It does not cost you thousands of dollars or like thousands of rupees, like 7,000 for a single glass. No, it's not going to
Right.
cost you that because it's both plastic glass and makes it fiber. And fiber
Right.
lenses are literally in rupees that are like less than $100.
Right.
And then he was like, it will be great to see if someone executes it, and actually LensKart did. And yeah,
Wow. Your family already had the idea, basically.
yeah, no, my dad has good ideas, but he also has, he runs several manufacturing units in India, several businesses currently with my
Okay.
brother, put together, my mom. Ours is an entrepreneurial family, basically.
Wow,
And
that's awesome. That's really awesome. So, regarding your observation about LensKart, so, I'm, the very obvious thing to see is like MySpace was already there, but, they did not become Facebook. And end of the day, only Facebook became Facebook. So it's probably, many of the times it is about identifying the opportunity and converting it into a business. And I'm sure that 99% of the people, they don't do it, even if they tend to observe a certain problem statement early on.
I agree.
That is where
I
we advise the founders that you don't have to actually be a original idea all the time. 95% of the times you can copy it well and make it a sustainable business.
I agree. I agree. Regarding copying, this is something that happened. I want to tell you a story as well. I was living in Palo Alto. I was working similarly in a big corporation like you so that I can understand how do you organize things and how do you make a structure of things. And I always wanted to be hands-on and off founder where me being necessary where I want so I can have my hands in, but also like making the team to able to manage. So those are the things that I wanted to learn. And there
Right.
was one guy who lived in our house. He told us early 2000s, China basically allowed people to copy all the apps, things, whatever the things were in US. If you're bringing it to China, uh, you can copy it and we'll help you find funding. And these two people, these two friends who went to Columbia data science in early 2000s, um, end up making like several millions of dollars. Now one runs a gaming company in China, and other person basically runs a entire like he also develops games, but on a different age group. One targets 13 plus, the other person, both of them are best friends basically. So
Wow, that's very interesting. So they actually did it, and it
yeah,
does not matter that they did not create unicorns, but end of the day they are sitting on millions of dollars, right?
yeah, in Shanghai at this point. And I asked him as well, do you imagine that life that you're having now? Did you have it? And he was like, no, I thought like going back and trying to do this. I don't know where it was able to get, but we both were like each other friends. When we were down, each other brought each other up.
Wow. Nice
Yeah,
story, nice story.
yeah. And I think copying a idea that has a market definitely does has a lot of potential as well. And again, LensKart being on Facebook, the story is not
Yeah.
over for LensKart yet because there are still, even in US, there are expensive lenses. Like let's say if you're not using insurance, you end up paying like $1,000 for a lens. But Warby Parker is similar to LensKart here, but even then, like you're paying $300 to $400. Imagine LensKart
Wow.
where you get $100 toothpaste with
Yeah.
scratch proof and all these
Right.
things. So like,
Right.
who
Right.
knows where LensKart founder is
Yeah,
heading
and
next?
I saw some articles when the IPO of LensKart was coming out, and the fact is that this guy also faced the music many times, and he was wondering whether his company will survive or not. So I guess the essential nature of entrepreneurship is like that. You end of the day, if you succeed, then you succeed.
I agree. If you don't succeed, again, pick up the knife and go for the battle.
Do a pivot, find new investors, make a new
Yes,
company, again start going.
I agree. And what I realized in my entrepreneurial journey is focusing on your strengths gets you a long way, and finding your weakness and finding a person that who can fit into your weak spot so that that is their strength makes you not just grow. You don't need to grow your weakness out. You can have some person in the team that fights the
Right.
weakness for you as well
Absolutely
sometimes.
agree. Absolutely agree with you. You
Yeah,
have to play on your strengths and not really worry about your, everybody has weaknesses, right? But you can probably keep a resource who is filling in for the areas where you are not strong.
yeah, I agree with you. I agree. Definitely. Because like otherwise, if you don't have resource, I think you would spend ages on solving that rather than
Yeah.
just um, an hour or day.
Yeah, it's like the IIT paper itself, right?
Yeah.
You find a beautiful problem which you are not able to solve, and then you spend 10 minutes wanting to solve it to make yourself happy, instead of moving on to the next five questions where you will do well and earn some points out of those.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Like even when I'm thinking back, when I was studying IIT, um, it was really hard, like on physics, rotational mechanics, and gravitational physics for me. Just at that point of time, I was not able to grasp it. But once I'm out, I studied engineering. My interest for physics grown. Like I went to study quantum computing, And
Wow. Okay.
now, like looking back, I can solve those problems literally like a couple of minutes or so.
Awesome. Awesome. Right.
Yeah. But every stage is different. I agree with you. And coming back again to founders, um, what stages do you think each type of idea needs to get fundraised? Let's say there is an AI, there is a healthcare, there is a lot of sectors, technology, there is even in technology, deep tech and immediately implementable like AI products. So what stage do you think and how does anyone needs to approach the problem of fundraising or building their company according to you?
See, the very name venture capital means that it is a venture which is trying to succeed, trying to make sense, trying to create a product which customers want. So there is an inbuilt sense of risk, and that is why the investors' capital is also called risk capital.
Yes.
uh, to that extent, although you have exit clauses in term sheets from the investors, but they are not maintainable in any court, because no court will tell you that you are forced to buy back the equity from the investor, because end of the day the investor took a risk in a venture.
Yeah.
So that is the nature of venture capital. But there is a difference between the countries where capital is abundantly available vis-a-vis countries where it is scarce. For example, the USD is very powerful and a lot of capital is available in the US. Jeff Bezos is on record to say that the reason Amazon got created in the US is because in the US you can raise $50 million uh, at seed stage for a company whose chances of succeeding is 10%. So, so that is why at very early stage in the US, you tend to even get checks of $5 million or $10 million. And the same is not true for many countries, including India, where the cost of capital, in terms of suppose the charge which the interest which a bank charges on a loan is a minimum 8 to 9%, it goes to 12% and even higher. So
Yeah.
the cost of capital is more in India, and because it is more in India, the risk perception is also more, and hence at the earlier stages, less money is available for the riskiest stage of the company, which is early stage, idea stage, seed stage. And that is where uh, you know like you mentioned, in sector wise, what kind of capital should be available at what stage. Well, although venture capital funds, they are supposed to invest in early stage, but fact of the matter is that 80%, or rather more than 80% of the funds in the market, are comfortable investing when the revenue has already started coming in. So that is the post product market fit stage, the post PMF stage, where the early customer persona is available. Uh, you have the marketing and sales channel in place. You have the early team in place, and the product also has a shape and a look which is, which can fetch a buyer, fetch a customer. Many VC funds, even Sequoia started Sequoia Surge, and many of them claim to have come in even earlier stages, which is before revenue, and they have different campaigns for it. But if you look at the ground situation in India, they keep on observing the company for 6 months, 12 months. Eventually, when the risk is not that much, and at that stage, they say that, okay, we have been watching you for 6 months, 12 months, and now that your revenue has started coming in, we are comfortable cutting a check. So that is the whole thing, because although after the IPO window was opened up by the government for startups, for loss-making startups in India, and all these companies, Zomato, Policy Bazaar, Paytm, Car Trade, every one of them got listed. Prior to that, the risk perception was really high, and there were no exits. VC funds were holding on to investments for even 10 years, and exits were very difficult. And now that the window has been opened and a deluge of startups have got listed, and even those companies who had holding companies in Singapore and US, they are flipping back to India, and with a view to get listed in the Indian stock exchanges. For example, PhonePe has come back, and Misho came back, and there is a high incidence of tax which is there payable to the Indian government once the holding company shifts from abroad to India. And there are cases like PhonePe has paid $1 billion of tax to the Indian
Oh,
government to shift its residence to India. So things have become better. So VC funds have also become, uh, more kind of easier with, the way they evaluate companies. But again, let me put a disclaimer. Let me qualify this by saying that VCs earlier were cutting checks for business models which were prone to losses, and who had bad unit economics. But now they are, actually bothering a lot that the business models should be profitable, and there should be profit on each unit sold by the company, and not be target towards gaining subscribers with a view to monetize later. So those kind of things are out of the window, and now more money is available, but money is chasing companies with sound unit economics, and it is chasing companies which are more on the consumer side, and it is also chasing companies who have already shown a revenue.
I understand. There is a lot that happened in the India past few years. One of the reason um, for me to go to US and study and then start my own company was also at that point of time in 2019, even like 2015, when I had ideas, me seeing them getting implemented, like um, I had when I was in 2015, ultrasonic fingerprint sensor just to patent it. Under the screen. Literally, all my friends laughed because I was in first year of engineering, 18 years old guy, and it
Mhm.
was really hard, like to convince anyone. And me seeing literally 2017 that getting implemented, everyone was like, "You told me at this point of time, why did you not do it?" Even when I went to professor as well, it was like
Huh.
I did not have at that point of time how to develop that because at that point of time I was new to electronics, learning
Right.
how to tinker with it. And one of the bad things about our university is initially they capped internet speed at hundreds of kbps. An answer
Mhm.
that would take almost a minute to come to you, not even minute,
Mhm.
more than that sometimes, because you're at the time internet was also pre-geo time, and how it changed even later. I agree with you, like in US having capital is easy. I think it is slowly getting investors in India also have taking risk appetite because I see a lot of deep space startups that are just focusing on um, a part of rocket, literally engine. Like developing an efficiency of an engine so that they can sell it to other rocket uh, launchers in defense and
Right.
space. And this is a company that just has a deal, no revenue, nothing, just has a deal with ISRO. And
Okay.
yeah, I
And the
don't
money
know.
is fine.
Money is money, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's like, if you are the right horse, then money is not a constraint.
Yeah,
It's like that. But if you are still saying that I'll do everything in the future and I have nothing to show,
yeah,
and probably an idea, and then probably only somebody known to you, friends or family, will put money on you. But
yeah.
it is very difficult to then expect to get a external investor.
When you have a showing just a future potential without showing a proof that you can do it, it will be hard.
Right.
Like
But it
how,
definitely, if you are an IITian, because I've personally, I was a shark at the Shark Tank at IIT Delhi last year,
hmm,
and I've personally seen that how much people value that IITians bring to the table, and they definitely get better access to money early on.
I agree that because there was one guy that who I met in Harvard Business School when I was taking a course. He's a IPS officer from UP, and
Mhm.
he's the guy that who went to batch with Flipkart founders and all. He raves how amazing their batch was because that was the golden batch in IIT Kharagpur that
Oh,
made all the startups in India that listed on IPOs today. Um,
wow.
and
The the OGs, the mafia,
yeah,
Flipkart
the OG
mafia, and
Mafia.
yeah.
I asked why are you here, like being an IPS, and his wife also works in some governmental. She's also one of the top official, if I recall. And I asked him, why are you here and doing a course, like 1 year course in Harvard Business School? And he said, um, in UP government, um, yeah, he was doing public policy and she was doing the business course. And in UP government, they were doing the better way of tracking criminals and they want to have
Mhm.
everything quickly. And they are developing a system at that point of time, like an year ago. That's what he said to me. And I don't know whether that is implemented yet or not, but sounded interesting, like digitizing police records, because like at that point of time, even though everything is getting digitized and police records are not at all getting digitized, crimes,
Right,
nothing. There's um, it was limited to stations or part of the district or smaller government level, which is kind of
right,
centralizing is a part of getting also a part of um, in India, which needs to be necessary as well. And that's what
right.
he's tackling currently.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I mean, there are people who are uh, particularly motivated, and probably that is one reason they have reached to IT, and people are willing to back these people, saying that if these guys cracked something which required you to be in the top 0.1%, then
Yeah,
probably they'll be willing to, like, creating a startup is like the first check which LensKart got was in 2011, and they came out with an IPO in 2025. 14 years.
yeah,
So, you need people who can survive that time, right? 7 years, 5 years, 10 years.
yeah.
So, that is why, IIT is definitely an indicator of resilience and intelligence. So, that is where people are willing to bet. I personally know a lot of IITians uh, who are not in the engineering field, and they are doing something different, but still people are willing to even back them in those vocations.
I agree. I agree that literally, like, I'm seeing it every day
I have,
because
an IITian who got a lot of money from the market all the time since the last 10 years, but he has always done a shoddy job in whichever company he has opened. Should I tell you the name of that person?
Yeah, sure.
Bhavish Agarwal of Ola.
Oh, yeah,
Every company of his is in a mess, mismanaged, totally raising money on the back of false promises,
yeah.
selling dreams, and 10-year journey of failed ventures.
I agree. The electric scooter was a big flop. That's one
Electric,
thing.
you look at Krutrim is nothing. You look at,
Mm,
people, but still people give him money so much, like IPOs and everything, because he has a personal PR which he has done over the last 10 years, and so people believe that if he can create Ola once, then he can create such
something.
ventures in the future. But end of the day, if you look at those ventures, they are not doing well.
I think he needs to address the issues before he again goes into new one. Like having,
Absolutely. And before he thinks 100 times bigger things, he should first manage his existing ventures better.
yeah, I agree. And also, I think like when we are thinking just products in India, I think quality is the biggest issue that I observed just from manufacturing industries in India. I wish that changes because when just giving an example, let's say you're sending food product US, there is a different quality versus served in India, there is a different quality.
Right,
So
right.
I think that needs to be addressed as well. What do you think?
I feel that in India there are pockets of excellence. Like
Yeah,
Haldiram is a pocket of excellence. So you will always find a good quality product whenever it is branded Haldiram. So I think but when it comes to managing qualities at a mass scale, then probably you find a lot of players who are doing a shoddy job, and I
yeah,
think the government is not able to keep pace with the length and breadth of India and the population depth and the huge number of companies, and the governance is very thin.
yeah,
There are very less number of people who are uh, actually managing the whole show,
yeah,
be it anything, be it food inspectors, be it policemen, be it traffic policemen, be it the government, the whole governance structure is very thin, and that is where and judiciary has many gaps, and that is why the whole legal system has many gaps, and contract enforcement is poor,
yeah,
and because of all these things people are able to get away by mis-selling, by selling shoddy products and these things.